Our guest is the President, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, Chief Yomi Odubela. Welcome to the show, sir.
Excellent morning to you.
Excellent
Thanks
morning.
for having me.
Thank you. So I'll let Tokwe start because she had a question she was going to
throw to you, sir.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out from you, sir, why we've migrated from where primary schools, secondary schools used to just let you know the number of books you need, the number of notebooks you need. The school doesn't need to produce the notebooks in their names. The parents would go to the markets. My parents would go to Yaba or Ojuelegba and we buy the books and we bring to school. To the point where all the school books are unique-looking books, exercise books are being paid for, uniforms are being paid for in school, and we're putting all those financial burden in a way that is not convenient for the parents to be able to say, I cannot afford this for now, let me find other solutions. Why are the schools doing this? Maybe you give me the backstory and help us understand.
Thank you so much for having me on this show to hear my view concerning the challenges we are all facing, having our children go to quality schools. First and foremost, we need to support the system to have a sustainable progress and growth in all the aspects of our educational sector. Publishers are having challenges in sustaining their intellectual properties and also sustaining the business through piracy. And this has led to the fact that the publishers had come up with an option of dealing directly with parents through the schools and leaving the bookshop out of it. You will recall that some time ago, some bookshops are picked by law enforcement agencies who are colliding with pirates to sell pirated copies of books. So to ensure that this is nipped in the bud, they collaborated with schools to ensure that they have the books produced directly from the publisher sold through the school system. In fact, you will agree with me that there are some books that you will see on their byline where you have something like, this book is not to be sold in bookshop. And it's not far-fetched from the challenges that we cannot deal with piracy in this country.
Right.
Secondly, you also want to know there are times when children, especially those at the nursery and primary school, will require additional learning materials that hitherto were not factored in from the beginning in terms of exercise books. Where a child exhausted the exercise book provided by parents, Lagos, for example, and any other busy states where parents are hardly available and cannot be reached for a good number of time. So schools have devised a means of providing support for these children by making materials available even when those materials suddenly got exhausted, or there are reasons to have additional material even when the remaining one is not totally exhausted. So this has necessitated the reason why some schools, not all anyway, had decided that all school needs will be provided by the school. But we must address the situation where some schools are now hiding under this to extort parents. This is not ethical and not acceptable. There are going price for books in the market, especially the exercise books. And when books sold by the school is now becoming higher than what is obtainable in the open market, then we expect the PTA, the Parent Teachers Association arm of school system, to come to become active in this regard and discuss these issues if it arises in any of private schools. Our association, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, also is also available to assist parents who are having challenges with schools who are hiding under this to extort them. Okay, because we are providing branded book, as a matter of fact, you should make it more available and more cheaper than what the market price is giving.
All right, let me ask you something concerning this school fees increase that many parents are complaining about. Are there specific parameters that schools are supposed to use to increase school fees? How does a parent know that they're not being arbitrarily increased?
The only parameter factor that determines the cost of the worth of any school is the basic economic principles of demand and supply. And thank governments for allowing as many private investors as possible that want to invest genuinely in quality education. Because of the free entry and the free exit, it has made it almost impossible for any school to just indiscriminately increase school fees because there are so many competition out there. And I want to say here with all emphasis and research-based evidence that a good number of schools are running beyond their worth because of the keen competition. To pay the overhead staff and maintain the school facilities, knowing that children will be children, even when there are laws in place. And the ability to maintain this facility requires a whole lot of fund. An average school owners will agree with me that to maintain this facility and pay the overhead is much beyond what is the revenue of an average school. And for some schools, they have done well by carrying along the PTA association and making them into the know of how the school is being run. I have a fact that an average teacher now cannot earn below 100,000 naira in Lagos suburb, where we have in the eyebrow area, teachers are requesting from 180 to 250 as take-home salary. This does not include allowances and bonuses. For any schools that is an approved school, and please, I am discussing here basically on the fact that I am sitting on the executive position of approved private schools. For any approved private schools, there are some standards you need to put in place that will meet the approval criteria, and these come with a whole lot of cost. And when you get the approval, it doesn't end there. You need to continue to maintain and support the minimum standard by putting the facility in place and adding more to it on every term basis. This comes with a cost also, and this has made the running of private school
expensive.
a
Okay,
bit expensive.
let me get a few questions for you. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so just before you joined the show, I was talking about outsourcing certain other businesses attached to the delivery of good education by the private schools, especially transport, for instance. Is it possible? Have you seen it amongst your members where a school outsources its transportation business to a proper transport company and faces the business of education, and how has that been effective?
Please, I want to be sure that I get your question right. Were you asking that why have we not looked into outsourcing transport system, and if there are any members that have done that, is it effective? Is that the question, please?
Yes.
All right. There is no transport system that we want to go into running of school. I want to clarify a point here. Anyone that is involved in investing in education system in Nigeria is doing so because of two things. One, passion for education, and running the school more or less like non-profit organization. I am saying this because I have run school for over 25 years, and I compare this with other investments that I have and that my friends and family belong to. I have seen that the return on investment of school is virtually less than 5% per annum compared to what other people who invest in other trading and businesses achieve. So a transportation company who will want to replace their buses within 4 to 5 years will not go into school business. Imagine if you charge a child for 150,000 naira for an 18-seater bus, that will be giving you an average of less than 3 million naira per term. And by the time you calculate the cost of fueling, even when the hike in pump price are now setting, and you pay the driver and you maintain the buses, you will know that even if you collect this fee for the next 10 years, you will not break even in replacing such buses. So some of us, including my humble self, had tried partnering with transportation company to take the stress of running school bus away, but it has not been profitable and it has not been sustainable for those transport companies.
So just a moment, sir. I said this because Shortless was on the show here, and what she offers, the lady and I think two of them set up a company where they offer transport services to companies. And Shortless drove past me the other day before I had to go off the show. On Badagry Expressway on our way to on the way to Agbara in a coaster bus. It's possible for people who know the business of transport to do transport business while schools face.
Well, we don't know if she's profitable for her yet because she's probably just
never
finished.
shut
So
down.
I'm just a bit, I mean, for now, she just started. So what he's saying is that somebody who has done it for over 25 years saying like,
because
you might do it, but it might not be profitable.
when he was
companies are looking at
talking,
profits.
I'm not sure how many.
Mariah, please, I can't hear what you're saying, please.
Okay, 1 second. We'll come to you, sir. Go ahead to work here.
I did the maths on my calculator. If it's 150 per term, divided by 200 days, let's say they spend 200 days in school, that's per day is 750. So that means you're paying 750 naira a day for your child's transportation, which I don't think is astronomical when we really look at it realistically.
Because we're paying it in bulk, that it looks like it.
Yes, because you're paying it in bulk, so it looks huge. But I was going to ask, you said,
Chief Odubela, the question is for you, sir.
yeah, the school is not a profit-making business. How do you convince parents now that, because most parents, I'm sitting here with all of them, and they're all thinking, all these schools are making money off us, they're so expensive, they're so expensive. How do you convince them that, no, we are giving you value for money? Because I don't think they are convinced. So somebody even called and said, I'm siding the schools. I'm not really siding the schools. Luckily, I don't come out that.
Okay.
I'm no longer their customer.
I'm not.
Go ahead, sir.
I said earlier on that there is a need to have effective parent-teacher association in all the schools. As a matter of policy, it is compulsory, mandatory, and statutory that all schools must run an effective parent-teacher association to be headed by one of the parents and to have some of the staff of the school to be among their, the executive, while other parents also join in the executive member. During this forum, there is always opportunity to express feelings like this. And I have seen schools who are doing greatly, schools who are meeting parents and exceeding their expectation, doing wonders with the children because parents are fully involved. There is no way you can have quality education when you don't run an inclusive education. And running an inclusive education means that parents also have to be part of the school system. In fact, they are major stakeholders. And when a school board or proprietor could put the parent first in decision-making, it has always been awesome for both parties, not in terms of the outcome of the children alone, but also in transparency. So to confirm whether school is running profitably or not, sooner or later, school who refuses to carry parents along often run out of business because they may think they are smarter, but at the end of the day, parents tend not to understand the fact that school business is not profit-making business. And they won't agree when there is a need for review of school fee. But where parents are carried along effectively, there have always been a meeting point when cards are laid on the table and parents can see things themselves.
Sir, in a situation whereby parents are not happy, maybe they feel that the school is not carrying them along, just like from what you just said, is there a body they can report to? I mean, is that what your own private schools proprietors association is for? Can they come to you to complain?
Yes, I will drop our website right away. I will also drop an email. Then I could also drop some official number that parents can send only WhatsApp message or SMS or email to. Calls are not allowed. But if you have registered as a parent under our website, then you will have been attached to people, to representatives in each state, if possible in a local government, where you can now make direct call because you are a stakeholder in National Association of Proprietors of Private School. Where you have not registered as a stakeholder, then you can only send message until your registration is done fully. And what it takes you to register is just to provide evidence of a government-issued identity card and provide an evidence of an ID card issued by the school your child is attending. And that is all. It comes at no cost. It is free. There we can get feedback and engage members and do sensitization on issues that are bordering on quality and sustainability of education in Nigeria.
You said something earlier.
One of the numbers is, could I go ahead?
Oh, okay, yeah, you said something earlier, which, don't worry, when people go to your website to get the numbers, you didn't pay for marketing today. There was something you said earlier I thought was important. You said you are only part of approved schools. Now, how does a parent know which schools are approved or not? Because everywhere, private school, international schools are like pure water. Every clinical XYZ international school, ABC international school, everybody is international school. How do we know which one is actually approved by government?
Like I have said earlier on, every school that are running in the country, in any state of the country, must, as a matter of government policy, seek recognition first and foremost of the government and move to get approval of the school. When you are commencing the school, it is not always mandatory that approval must come before you start the school. You put structure in place, you put requirements in place, and approach government that you want to commence a school, then they will issue a letter, a name search to you to know that you exist where you are. And that is basically for safety of children in that building and in the hands of the professional in that building. Then you will commence the process of registration immediately, which many a times is dependent on how far you can put the requirements by each state government into the school. Then you get your approval. Now, when you get approval, it is easier for parents to trace you, whether you are not approved or you are approved, and how. I have just mentioned that in our website, parents can visit us and see lists of approved schools. And you can also register to confirm whether this approval is still valid.
Active,
because at times we see schools that have been disapproved or deregistered and still running. Then secondly, there is a department in all states of the Federation called the Quality Assurance Department in Education. That department also attends to parent requirement. There is a website you can go in that also that you can see lists of approved schools. Thirdly, there is what we call on-the-spot check. When a parent wants to register in any given school, you have the right to demand to see the approval letter of the school. In some schools, it is hung where it is visible within the reception or head teacher's or principal's office. In some schools, you demand for it, they show it to you. And this you can confirm from the government and our association, like I have said earlier on. This is the fastest way parents can confirm if a school is approved or not approved.
All right.
Chief, earlier you mentioned that teachers get a certain salary for schools outside the center of Lagos and a certain amount for schools within the center of Lagos. From experience, I have seen some of the best teachers leave schools at the end of the term, granted because of, payments. Is there a way you regulate? Is it possible? Because it's a capitalist system. If it's a business and profit is only what they think about. Do you regulate the welfare of teachers within private schools? And,
Yes, thank you for bringing this question. I am aware that it will be unethical for me to be mentioning the website. So viewers, please pardon me that I won't be able to mention
we're allowing you.
My producer
said you can go ahead and mention the website because it's for public awareness. So go ahead. And since it's free, go ahead. You can tell us the website.
Okay, it's www.napps.ng.com.
Okay. Okay.
napps.ng.com. That's the website. You can see our email, info@napps.ng.com. Okay. And you can see numbers you can chat with.
Okay.
And there is also, you can send your message to 08033205357. I take that again, 08033205357. You can reach us on WhatsApp or SMS. Then we'll put you through on how to register. Once you register, then we can attach an officer for.
Oh.
Is it gone? I just wanted to, my former teacher, who is a proprietress, who owns a school, has sent me this text. She says, even Lagos, okay, he's still there.
Sorry, it was freezing. We didn't hear you, sir.
In the
Hello, we lost you for a minute, sir. We're trying to get you back. Go ahead, Wike. Let me let you read.
She says, even Lagos State is not helping. They charge schools for everything, e.g., radio and television fees were increased from 50K to 200K. This is the tip of the iceberg. Loma increased from 15K to 60K. She said some of my colleagues have had to close down. She says the television we use is used to teach the children. And please do not mention my name.
While we're trying to get our guests back, let me also read another comment from somebody else here. I don't have the person's name. It says, parents have the choice of schools they can take their children to. If people can't afford a particular school, they should take their children to other more affordable schools. In my own school, when the fees were increased, people left in droves because they couldn't afford it. Most proprietors are passionate about their school, and funds should be available to make the necessary investment to maintain standards. Ultimately, private schools are businesses and must maintain their standards in order to recruit more students. So that's another different perspective.
Also, this issue of books, when we went to secondary
I'm told he's back.
Okay.
I wanted to ask him a question.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Nima. Hello, sir, are you there? Hello, sir. We don't have him back. Go ahead.
Okay, so I went.
Yeah, with us? Are you there?
Yeah, they are not.
I'm with you, please. Go ahead.
Okay,
please.
Tope had a question for you. Let me ask a question.
Okay, so, sir, you mentioned that it's not all schools that are going to, that is not, registration is not a requirement for schools. And we have many schools that are not registered, and they have loads of Nigerians in those schools. We have, Mariah always informed us during our time with the education in Lagos, Ministry of Lagos, is that the biggest problem we have with our educational sector are the low-income primary schools, the low-income secondary school, low-income primary schools. And they have a lot of children there, and there are no checks. So I wanted to find out from you, what's your body doing to provide a bit of guidance and support for low-income primary and secondary school that are being patronized by majority, actually, of Lagosians, of Nigerians, that would help them to also get a bit of good quality even while they are considering the cost?
Hello,
Did you hear me?
I think it's...
Oh, yeah. Hello, sir. Did you get that? Okay, I think we're having technical issues.
So sad.
I was going to make the point of books. So I went to command, and then in school, when it was resumption time, we're giving our books. The school's business was to find a way to reach the writers of the books they wanted, strike a deal that reduces the school fees. That's not what we see now.
Cost of books.
The cost of books. And ensure that the standard of education they wanted to give to the students was met. Parents were not dying because of the cost of the books. Now, schools will print the exercise books with the brand of the school on it. They will print the communication book with the brand. They're taking over every business of it, not necessarily concerned about the education. The school that gave a list of books gave the Lagos State standard curriculum list of books for secondary school.
But you answered that question already.
He answered the question. He talked about them, writers trying to fight piracy with it. And I'm saying, who is doing it for the public schools? And the government is still the one setting the standard of education. If the government is setting the standard, why is the government not in the business of providing the books and ensuring...
Let me speak for public schools. Me, I can speak for Lagos State public schools. All their books are provided by government, 150%. Every single book, the learning materials, the activity books, the textbook, every single thing is because, and they are being printed at LSP, Lagos State Printing Press here. You go there, so it's a fully
subsidized rate.
It's not the same by force that you must send your child to a private school.
What's the name of this? General maths. General maths that we use.
You cannot say that.
Excuse me. Let me just say something, Nima. Let me say something. For the past 5 years, we have been holding schools debates for celebration. For more than what am I saying? 5 years, maybe 10 years.
Yes.
I'm just off the. But in the last 5 years, which schools have won?
The Lagos State
schools have won.
Yeah, I've judged it for the past 5 years.
They have won every single debate.
And why, in addition to that,
not private schools.
I have data.
So what are we saying?
I have
The
data.
private schools come with
I have data to show that many of these the lower income Lagosians have started moving their children to public schools in Lagos State because they're teaching them much better. The primary schools in Lagos State, their standards have improved tremendously because of how they've trained their teachers in technology. And they're using this to teach their children. So many of these schools are not well regulated. That Yasikira primary school, international primary school, they're just opening left and center, opening their living rooms, opening their backyard, just because there was an issue in the public school. But what Lagos is trying to do now, like that, all of you now, you don't need to take your children to those schools anymore. Our schools are now up to standard. Take your children to the Lagos State public schools. I'm speaking about the primary schools, 100%. Not secondary schools
yet. We would also talk about nearness to the house.
Yes.
Nearness.
We need to talk about
those schools need to come up.
Yes.
We
need more schools.
Even at that, right from time, we used to...
Hello.
People, oh, okay, are you there?
No, the internet is going back and forth, sir. We can't hear you. Are you there?
Oh, I asked the question.
Yeah.
We had this conversation. People used to walk a long distance to their school, and that was okay. Yes. But the Lagos State has done an upgrade in their school. I know that Edo State too did upgrade. But even those upgrade, there are now conditions before you can get into the school. So not everybody will be able to meet those conditions. Some people want to go to school, but they are not Lagos State registered. Right. They don't pay taxes, so they will not get into public schools.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up. We have another segment, Healthy Tuesday. We have a doctor coming in for a second, so please, we have to wrap up. But it's obviously a conversation we need to continue to have. Hopefully have a part 2 of this soon. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll talk about our health segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.